Hi everybody. Welcome to Let Her Cook on the BSCN channel. Let me just mute some things here real quick so I can keep track of you, but also not annoy the living shit out of my ears. Okay, so we are gonna do something fun today where first of all, we let the chat just go. You don't have to buy the token in order to chat. So anybody who just logs into Pop Fun, I think you have to have a username or connect a wallet or something. I just make the sandwiches, okay? I'm just here to make the food. I don't really know much about this platform. But you can log in and chat and I can see it. So today we are going to make 3 different things. First of all, my name is Jackie. If you do not know who I am the Jackie Dutton on X. And I make all of the video content that you see on BSCN. BSCN is a crypto news company, and we cover all kinds of stuff. So lots of live breaking updates and then, general content, newsworthy events, that kind of thing. So today we're going to do this live stream. I'm going to make 3 specific things. I'm going to make a baked salmon sushi style casserole. So if you have ever had a baked salmon roll, this is basically like the exact same flavors, except it's a casserole and I'm not going to be rolling sushi rolls by hand. So a much easier way to actually make sushi flavors at home, as instead of rolling it yourself. As a little appetizer or a little side dish, we're going to make some crispy wontons to go with that, with rice paper wrappers instead of wheat-based wrappers. And then the last thing I'm going to make is what my husband calls, quote, the best thing he's ever eaten. And they are buttermilk peach scones with some white chocolate chips in them. So kind of a full meal today as opposed to just like a one pot. Last week we did a gumbo recipe and that takes quite a while. Go ahead and check that stream out if you haven't seen that. That was a week ago. We are here live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's kind of the schedule that we have decided. So I have my water over here. I am going to get started. I have preheated my oven I've set my oven to 385. If yours is an accurate temperature, most of the time you're going to want to do about 375. And I'm going to get the salmon out and we're going to season it and throw this in the oven. So over here. So as far as crypto is concerned this week, is it Uptober or is it not Uptober? Everything has absolutely ripped this week, which is fantastic, but nothing has really ripped harder than BNB, which is just absolutely melting faces. If you go look at that chart, just the general BNB chart, I cannot believe how well BNB is doing. And then you have CZ, and he's tweeting. Basically, if you look back at the BNB chart and you look at when CZ was in jail, not for anything he did. He was the first ever person to actually go to jail for what he did, by the way. But if you look at when he was in jail and then when he got out, and if you bought just like right before he was released or placed a massive long order, you would be in incredible profit. So, CZ's going to protect his own. All right. Hello, my big dog. I have 2 dogs. You might hear them. They kind of roam around. All right, so you're going to take a fillet of salmon. I am going to leave the skin on, and I will show you why, because it just kind of peels right off when you're done cooking it. And we're going to season this with 3 or 4 things here. I'm just going to take some spray, just organic olive oil, and spray this just a little bit, just so we get it nice and sticky. We're going to do kosher salt. We're going to do black pepper. And we're going to do garlic. As far as the salt is concerned, I don't go crazy on this. especially with kosher salts, it is saltier than other salts. So I just get just enough, even though it is fish. It's hard to oversalt fish. And then pepper. And for the garlic, look, I don't have to sleep next to you, so you use as much as you want, okay? I just have to use as much as the person who sleeps next to me will tolerate. I wouldn't make this like garlic fish necessarily, but you know, you do you. Okay, so now that that is fully seasoned, I am gonna throw this in the oven. And we're gonna let her cook. Basically, I'm gonna set a timer for, let me see. I'm gonna set a timer for almost 40 minutes. A fun trick about anything that you bake is that if you set a timer, you throw something in the oven and you go walk away from it, stay on the same floor. I wouldn't like go up 3 levels or something. But if you are in the general area of your kitchen and you have baked something, usually it is about done or done by the time you can smell it. When you are sitting on the couch and you're watching TV and you're, you know, you've kind of forgotten that something is sitting in the oven, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that smells so good. Typically it's like about done. Okay. So we're gonna leave that there. And next I am going to, I guess we can start on the wontons. All right. So you're gonna want to heat this pan up, and I am gonna chop a couple things first. I don't think I planned quite as good today. All right. And my little camera is so cool. This is an OBS bot, and it follows me around. Okay. So here's fun fact. I am not Asian, if you can't tell. I'm just a white girl who likes to cook, and I really like to eat. So I am just gonna make this how I want to make it. Don't come for me in the chat if this is not like authentic, okay? I'm not trying to appropriate, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. You know, I'm just trying to eat. So there's a couple projects on B&B, just to talk a little bit more about crypto, that have been killing it for a really long time. And I think it would be remiss if we did not point that out. So Cake, like Pancake Swap, and the Cake Token, this is a team and a project that continuously reinvents itself to make sure that it stays really relevant. And I know if you go and look at like the long-term part of that chart, it's not quite as impressive. But they recently, yesterday, I believe, or a couple days ago, they announced something called Cake.pad. And it's a token launch pad, but instead of the like lawlessness of pumped up fun, which is great in its own way, Cake.pad has decided that they are going to use kind of a vetted system, if you will. So I just did a video actually about Cake.pad. It got posted last night on our YouTube channel and our X account. If you want any more details, there's also an article on BSCN's website. And there aren't a ton of details about it right now, but so far it looks promising. And basically every single transaction, it replaces their IFO thing, their initial farm offering. So you can buy into brand new projects and then you earn that token. But it also benefits all cake holders. So you stake cake and you can receive cake, I believe. And then also every single transaction is very deflationary when it comes to cake. So that will burn some of the supply, which is awesome. Let me check this cat. Let me see. That is so much garlic. Yeah, I know. And we need an authentic Asian in the chat. We should have one. All right, so I'm gonna add a little just olive oil to this. I've turned the oven on. You can see, I'm trying not to burn my camera. And we're gonna do a little just onions. I'm gonna add some chicken. We're gonna season it. It's just ground chicken. This is, I think, one pound of ground chicken. And then I'm gonna add this Asian slaw. It's just cabbage, carrots, and a little celery. And this is just gonna be the filling of the wontons. Cut this and not cut my finger off. All right. All right, I'm gonna do the onions first. And I should probably get some more garlic, which is gonna be awesome. Let me see. Honestly, I think when it's like powdered garlic, it's probably not that much garlic, you know? These are the things I'm going to rationalize in my mind about it. Let's see. Do onions make you cry? Oh, this is so fun of a trick. Okay. First of all, a sharp knife, but keep your onions in the fridge. And between a sharp knife and the onion in the fridge, it cuts down on all of the vapors and it does not make you cry. If I cut just like a raw onion that sits on my counter and it's at room temperature, I will absolutely tear up. You know, like it's just an ESPN package of some kid with cancer now playing or something on a Saturday. Why do they do that to you? But yeah, otherwise, the fridge onion. I swear by this every single time. And crypto makes us cry. Yes, it does. Although not this last week. This last week has been awesome. Okay, so this is nice and hot. And we can tell because the oil is runny, for lack of a better word, or a little more watery. So I am going to throw the onions in. And you can use whatever flavor of onion you like. I kind of like the more pungent flavor of a red onion. It's also a little better for you in terms of like health benefits. I swear I'm not making that up. Like, there's more antioxidants in a red onion. I used to use a jar of like chopped garlic. Sometimes I do when I'm feeling super lazy, but really the best flavor of garlic comes from fresh garlic. I don't know if it's the garlic I put on the salmon or just this. It's like, it's becoming a lot of garlic, guys. It's fine, but we're gonna chop this finally. If anybody knows a way to do this that doesn't get all over your knife, doesn't make your hands stink, is easy to clean, it has to meet all three of those requirements, I would love that. Put it on the blockchain somehow, right? Let's see. We are not going to add the garlic yet because garlic burns. And when the onion starts to become a little on the translucent side and kind of fragrant, you're going to add your chicken. This is kind of a side rant here while I chop up this chicken. We're going to season this real quickly. I really can't stand all of the like plastic packaging that meat comes in now. Do you guys remember like when you were little, you would go to the grocery store with your parents and you would buy meat like from the butcher, like from the baker, the meat counter. And they would, they would hand you like a wrapped, it would come in paper, something actually disposable. Let's see. We're going to add a little chili pepper to this because I like that flavor. But it just makes me feel really wasteful when like the salmon comes wrapped in plastic, the chicken comes wrapped in plastic. Does it need to? I shouldn't have to feel like I'm like slaughtering my own meat just to be able to not be super wasteful. Also, a butcher was like a very, very respectable profession for a while when you had to like go to the butcher to buy a big cut of meat. Not that I'm looking to run another errand, but something has got to give her. I am hoping that we have a few more people watching today than we did last week, mainly because if you work for the government, you are off work right now. Congratulations on your free day off. Apparently how it works though, if you work a government job and it's shut down, you do not get paid until you go back to work, but you do receive back pay for while you were not working. So yeah, if you work for the government, you kind of have to be aware of the fact that that might be going on. Somebody asked in the chat, what do I use for a wonton case? So I will show you. So I'm going to use these spring roll wrappers, and these are rice based. And then I'm just going to like wrap them, like kind of fold them over and then wrap them up and fry them so that they're crispy. But I'm going to make sure the filling is cooked first. All right, so I'm going to add garlic here, which was 3 cloves of garlic, nothing like crazy. How much garlic? The answer is never enough. That's true. This is my new ginger that I just got. And we're going to squeeze some of this out. I didn't get fresh ginger, I'm sorry, but I think this works just as good. I'm going to stir this in. And then I am going to cheat a little bit and use this stir fry sauce. Just a little bit of it because I don't want the filling to be like runny. Let's see. The other B&B news that has really kind of blown up over the last week is the program Aster. So Aster essentially is, from what I understand, it's basically like Hyperliquid, except it's on B&B. And Hyperliquid is mostly Ethereum based, but I think you can do all chains. Aster is, Binance's darling. for some kind of like perpetual futures trading. I will say the volume that is taking place on Aster and the volume that genuinely usually takes place on BNB, like I don't think it's a coincidence that basically every time Solana inches past BNB in market cap, that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, BNB within less than a week finds enough money to surge past it again in market cap. Like, that's a little suspicious, you know? Okay, so this is smelling really well. I am going to turn this down. And then we're going to add a little bit of this stir fry sauce right here. This is like steamy. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to shake this up a little bit. It is a savory soy with garlic and ginger for Asian dishes. This sounded dead on the money. Instead of having to mix fish sauce and hoisin and everything else. All right. Let's see. We saw them adding random memes to Aster from the BNB chain this week. Look. Look, here's what I'm going to say. I don't know if all of the volume on that chain is legitimate, and I think people have called that out for a long time. But you know what? I don't think all of the volume on the Bonk bot is legitimate either. I don't think all of the, originally maybe people could have accused that of happening on Ethereum as well. And now the ETH Foundation just sells the shit out of their tokens. So we can't accuse that of manipulation anytime soon, right? Thankfully, now they're just selling it to SharpLink. Somebody stepped in and was like, excuse me, can you stop that? Besides all of crypto Twitter. Okay. Put this up. All right, here's a fun part of having an electric stove. I'm going to try and not burn the shit out of anything by accidentally moving it over here. But I am going to set this off to the side so it stops cooking. All right. So for the wontons, we're gonna wing this today, guys. I have, oh my god, I got to add this. You know how when it's sitting right in front of you and you still like forget? I had a husband moment. I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna turn this back on. See what happens? I get talking. We start forgetting things. All right, we're gonna add a little more sauce too as this heats up. A giant piece of cabbage. I would probably eat this filling by itself. Like, I don't think it needs to be wrapped in a wonton wrapper. You could probably just make this and throw this over some rice, and it would be just as delicious. Let me see. Did ETH go to 5K because they stopped dumping? Yeah, finally. I think ETH would be at 10K if they wouldn't have been selling the shit out of it for the last 3 years. It's basically been a stable coin. That was the big joke when FTX started making their repayments. I think ETH was at like 2,800 where it stayed forever. Okay. Rectified. Lovely. All right. You could add things to this, I'm sure, like bean sprouts or water chestnuts. I'm a big fan of water chestnuts, but we're just gonna keep it kind of simple with this slop. Okay. Let's set this off to the side. And we're gonna have this little like two-party system here. And it's gonna work together much better than the government. I really like don't even know. I've got the news on and I really have like no idea what is going on. It doesn't look like the shutdown is going to stop anytime soon. So if you have a poly market prediction bet, I hope you win, but you've clearly not won if it happened with, or if you placed a bet that it would end before today or tomorrow. Okay. I saw somebody had some like fancy device on Amazon for this. It was like a half bowl shaped thing, but let's read directions here. Place wrapper into warm water until it is pliable. Well, this isn't warm. A huge part of cooking is just reading the fucking directions. Here, we're gonna turn this on. And I'm just gonna burn this. So basically what I want to do is use all of the filling. Sorry, I don't know where my camera is. Move with me, thank you. All right, so here's how this is gonna work. We're gonna have a wrapping station. I'm gonna put warm water in here. We're gonna have a wrapping station, and then these are gonna be the done ones. And hopefully I'm going to make enough of them to use all of this filling. And I've got enough wrappers, so that should be fine. I think they're all gonna sing Gangster's Paradise too. This is a terrible joke. Let's see. And I'm gonna taste this because I'm hungry. It's good. All right, so I have heated this water. Yeah, this is plenty warm. You know how sometimes you just like don't like. Yeah. All right, so now that the water is warm, we're gonna do this for 15 seconds. This is much better now that the water is warm. And it says, until it is pliable. Okay. Yeah, I would say that it is. But it looks like almost like tissue paper. Okay, this makes more sense now. Ooh, okay. Oh my God. No, it's like duct tape. Okay, cool. All right, now you're gonna take a spoonful. And then the way I saw this was like a fairly simple, you know, kind of a roll job here. Ouch, that's hot. Okay. Already cracked it. Okay. This is a little stressful. Also, can you imagine doing this all damn day at a restaurant, oh my God, this would be, you'd just be the wonton person. Okay, becoming pliable. Yeah, this ends up getting like almost like a cellophane, like sticky cellophane texture here. Okay, good enough. Again, don't come for me if this isn't authentic, okay? We are all just doing our best. Okay. Fold this here. Fold in a side. Fold in another. So we're gonna do the burrito method here and then just like roll this up. Ouch. The filling is very hot, so when I get to the very end of rolling it, it's like cooking the wrapper as well. What's up? I see we have some new. Oi, oi. Some new people. If you are just tuning in, we are making a sushi salmon bake and some wontons and some scones at the end. So this is a cooking show. I didn't feel comfortable just sitting around and yapping. I like to provide value, as they say, in the content world. And it didn't feel like just kind of adding to noise was really adding value to the space. I have my opinions, but I also think opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. It doesn't mean we all need to see it or share it. Okay. I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna start the rice that also. Actually, I'm gonna do that right now. If my camera will follow me. So I cook my rice in an Instant Pot because it has a rice setting. I cannot like sing and jump and dance as much as I do about a rice cooker of some form. It is my absolute favorite tool. It is impossible to screw up rice this way. Please get a rice cooker. You will be so glad that you did. All right, so for this recipe, I'm going to do 1 cup of rice. Rice is just 2 to 1, 2 cups of water, 1 cup of rice. This is half a cup measure. And then I'm going to wash this, and I'm going to add 2 cups of water and throw it in the Instant Pot and set it to cook. back to wonton school. Let's see. Somebody asked, what's everyone's favorite way to cook salmon? Somebody said grill it. I do like to grill, but it's raining outside, and I just didn't think my camera equipment could handle that today. So, yeah, today it's baked salmon. I really do love to grill, though. I would love a Blackstone. I don't have one, but I'm thinking that is probably my next cooking purchase. All right. This is getting pliable, as the instructions said. Okay. Lay this down. More filling. These are on kind of the larger side, if I'm being honest. They're a little thick, but that's okay. Right. And then the burrito fold. At 100K market cap, we buy Jackie a Blackstone. Would love one. Thank you. As far as the BSCN token is concerned, at certain milestones, we really want to gamify just the token itself. So burns and giveaways and things like that. We haven't flushed out all of the details, but if you see that, you know, a dev wallet holds a certain amount, don't freak out by that. It's totally fine. You know, I think it's going to be all right, guys. Yeah, that it's mainly just going to be for, you know, fun interaction. All right, and if you are keeping track, the salmon, according to my timer, has 6 minutes left. So for this recipe, it's actually going to be okay if the salmon is a little underdone when you pull it out of the oven, just because you will see I'm going to assemble it in a way where it has to go back in the oven to continue baking with everything else. So do not worry. But typically, if you are trying to check for, you know, whether salmon is done or not, you can usually stick a fork in it. If you pull it up and it flakes really nice, that is the nicest indicator that you have cooked it really well. Otherwise, if you're being precise because you have a meat thermometer, you like to use it, you're freaked out by not cooking things to the right temperature, I believe the correct temperature for salmon is 145. For chicken, it's 165. And for beef, I think it's like lower than that. I think it's like 135. Okay. These wonton wrappers really are like the plastic wrap of food. Okay, so I think maybe 3 more. And I have 4 minutes left on my salmon. So let's see if we can knock out 3 of these in that time. If you guys have a preference as well of like what kind of recipes you'd like to see me make, or if there's any other kind of within this wheelhouse type of challenge, I'm happy to try it. We were thinking about having a guest on at some point that maybe just tells me the recipe, but like they have to tell me how to cook it, but I don't get to see anything other than the ingredients. And we can see how funny that would be to try and do. Oh, this is the nicest one. All right, practice makes perfect with this, guys. Maybe I'll just eat the rest of the filling after I get enough of these. Okay. Another one I saw said like you could actually double wrap these to get like an extra crispy flavor. I don't know if I have enough to do that, but we'll try a couple. We'll try a couple double wrapped, and then we'll try a couple not. Not. A fun personal sharing time. I actually had therapy for the very first time yesterday, ever. I have avoided it because I prefer being funny. And, you know, what doesn't kill you gives you a really dark sense of humor as a coping mechanism. So I have been completely fine with that in my life. But I finally decided it was time because I've been like dealing with some other personal shit. And it was a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little weird to just tell some stranger. Like, I think like this is a little more therapeutic for me. It's like we're doing something. We all like crypto. We're having a good conversation. It's productive. I've made food by the time it's over. But therapy was just, it was a little weird to me. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see, tell my fanboys on Twitter to hop into the Pump Fun chat. Okay, well, let me see. The problem is I'm on Twitter through this link here. Let's see. Have you guys noticed all of these weird response bots? Somebody responded that was, it said like Kim Kardashian parody account or something. And I'm like, why? This is weird. Just scream at them. Yell, yell, yell. Okay. So you guys, if you want to chat and you want me to be able to see it, there is no restriction on who can comment on the Pump Fun feed, but that's the only one that I have open. So if you are talking or leaving comments, that's kind of the only one I can actually see right now while I do this. But yeah, would love to hear what you have to say. So the Instant Pot just clicked over to the rice temperature, so it's going to count down for 12 minutes. And the salmon is done. Let me finish with this here. I'm going to turn that off because it's annoying. I left a couple minutes to spare when I set the timer for the salmon, so if it cooks a little more. I know there's probably like, you're watching this and you're like, oh my God, she folded it differently last time. There's no consistency to this here, okay? We're all trying our best. We're just doing this to get this done at this point. And I'm gonna get some more warm water here. I used to be part of a chat that it was for a meme coin that I was involved in, and we had like a lot of European people that were in the chat, specifically a lot of German people. And when they figured out that Americans heat up their water for tea in the microwave, they lost their minds. They were like, what do you mean you don't use an electric kettle? You are an animal if you are using the microwave for this. So let me know in the chat if you use the microwave like a heathen, or if you have an electric kettle to heat up your water for things like tea, coffee, pour overs, that kind of thing. If you notice, I'm sure you can see behind me. I can't see my feed right now. I have a pour over thing, and then I also have an espresso. This will be my fun rant here. People talk a lot of shit about how crypto is a Ponzi scheme. You know what they don't talk about as a Ponzi scheme? Coffee. Here's how it starts. You start with a regular 12 cup, like, you know, Mr. Coffee bun, whatever, coffee maker. Traditional thing, pot, works lovely, keeps it warm for hours. And then you decide you're gonna get fucking fancy, or you're like, well, I'm cutting back. I don't need like 12 cups of coffee. So I'm just gonna do like a single cup. So you may graduate from either at this point a Keurig or to a pour over. And the pour over thing, not that bad. You're still using ground coffee. It's limited waste. You've kind of limited your plastic exposure. Totally fine. Totally normal. Fine. And then after this point, you're like, oh, and you do something stupid, like you go to Europe and you have the coffee there and you're like, oh, this shit's like way better. I don't know what the fuck I've been drinking my whole life. I'm gonna go home and buy an espresso. So you buy an espresso, and then you spend probably no less than like $3 million in these little pods after you've only spent $170 on the machine on an Amazon Prime Day deal. And then after you realize that these pods are ridiculously expensive, you finally either go back to pour over, and then you do that for a while, but you still, you know the flavor of the European coffee. So you're like, I don't know, the coffee's just not that good. But the final boss, the final buy, your buy Bitcoin at just like one big ass green candle, just like place your buy, hot blast, the whole thing is you're like, I'm just gonna get a Breville. And that is the Ponzi scheme of coffee. Okay, don't start with an espresso, because the next, I've got one more thing to go, and it's a Breville. And no, I don't want to spend $1,200 on a coffee machine, knowing that a Starbucks habit is less expensive at this point. Don't do it. Nespresso is the way. Nespresso is awesome. I'm like not even gonna lie. I had one this morning. It was awesome. But the pods, my God, like. All right, so here is the last bit of filling. And then I'm gonna wash this pan out. And then we're gonna use this dish to fry up the crispy wontons. Let's set this over here. The camera zoomed in on my face. Hold on, I can't see it. I think I can get this to just like back up. Sorry, I'm having some like technical difficulty. Let me see if I can. Zoom out. Oh, I think I have to do this. Like I work at the airport. I seriously think it's like I have to work at there. Hold on, guys. I'm so sorry. It just feels like the Zoom is getting more. Oh, son of a bitch. I don't know if I can unplug it and start all over again. Let me see. Let's see if it'll zoom out. Zoom out, zoom away. Well, this is obnoxious. Okay, I'm gonna take the salmon out. Let me see if I can. Guys, I don't even know. It's working. It zoomed for the rant. Well, okay. Let me see if I can get it to zoom out, though. I don't know. The camera's smart. Hopefully it's smarter than me. Let's see. Oh, now it's focusing on all kinds of stuff. Yeah. All right, great. I'm also wondering if maybe my dress is like part of the problem here. There we go. Still can't get it to zoom out. I'm so sorry. I will figure that out. Let me see if I can. I swear when I looked at the directions, it was like airport traffic controller. Okay. I'm gonna get a bowl. And remember how I talked about how the salmon in particular, I didn't need to take the skin off. I'm going to show you why. Because when your salmon is cooked, it will just peel off of the skin. So I'm going to take this whole fillet and I'm going to throw it in this bowl. It does not matter if it stays in pieces. It's actually better if it doesn't because we are going to mix this up with a bunch of other stuff. Let's see. Hot. I actually make this dish probably, I got in a phase where I was making this dish like once a week. We eat a lot of omega-3s over here. They're good for you. Salmon is a really nice fatty fish. So if you're trying to eat lean, I would recommend something more like cod or tilapia. I would not do this recipe with that. I would actually only do this recipe with salmon. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. Dump this into the bin for the dish lunch, which is me. Okay. Normally I would see if it'll follow me now. We're having some major technical difficulties today, guys. I apologize. Normally I would have to open this package, but because my husband had some as a snack, it's already open. Okay, so you're gonna take a package of imitation crab or I don't know, you could use regular crab. You absolutely could. I'm gonna take out the piece I just ate. If you feel like using real crab meat because it's October, you do you. But it's a Wednesday afternoon, so I wasn't gonna spend the money on like real crab. You know what I'm saying? This is like $4. Real crab, like a jar of it's like $30. So you're gonna want to chop this up. And by the way, when you go with sushi, they're using this too. Imitation crab is usually made from some kind of like white fish. So it's a fish on fish on fish dish. Not all of these are gluten-free. Not all of the imitation crab mixes are. So if that is important to you in your life, it's important in mine, actually, most of the time. So, you know, just make sure you flip the package over. And that would be the rice. Love that. Okay. So you're going to give this a fine chop, even though I bought the flake style, and it should just like, you could have taken the pieces and just like ripped them to get that nice like shredded sushi style. Okay, now, okay. Now I'm going to toss all of this imitation crab in with the salmon. And by the way, I have left my oven on because I'm going to build this like casserole thing, and I'm going to show you how it gets built and then send it back into the oven so that all of these flavors melt together. Next up, you're going to take some mayonnaise. You can use Kewpie, that like, you know, soy-based like Japanese mayonnaise, but I'm just going to use this one. And by the way, this is soy-based as well. All right. This is going to be like a eyeball it type of thing. I've made this so many times, I don't think I can actually give you like a direction for how much. And then the other thing I'm going to add to this, which is your preference, is sriracha. This is not the regular one, but this name actually cracks me up. It's sriracha. And I think that's cute. So we're going to use this one. I used to drive past, I know that looks like a shitload of sriracha. If you don't like it spicy, don't do this. Or if you don't like the spice of sriracha, don't do this. What you can also do is add cream cheese. I don't always love like cream cheese in my sushi roll. Kind of like the fish and the rice. But feel free to add some cream cheese instead of the mayonnaise or the sriracha. But we like it a little spicy around here. Thank God for the 2-shot. Oh my God. The OBS bot camera really likes my face today. I'm not thrilled with that. Okay, so we're going to set this over to the side. I'm going to grab some seaweed. Okay, so to the rice, we're gonna add some mirin, which is a little sweet, a little like sweet flavor, sweet cooking rice seasoning is what it's called, and a little rice vinegar. So I'm gonna release. Also, be very careful when you do this on an Instant Pot. That little knob is like so hot. You see the like. That is so much sriracha. We love garlic and we love sriracha, okay? Honestly, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. It's not that bad, you guys. Perfect. Okay, rice vinegar. Got a little graveyard of ingredients building up here and a little mirin. I would say like not even a quarter of a cup of mirin. Let's see here. What size casserole dish? Okay, so now we're gonna build essentially the sushi roll kind of part of this casserole. Woo! She's hot. All right. Yeah, don't burn yourself. Escucho, yes. Escucho picante. I do not feed my dogs from the table, by the way, but they like come over here every time I cook, like they're gonna get something. Dish graveyard. We're gonna really need to clean some stuff up, guys. I'm very jealous of all of the food network chefs who they have someone come clean up for them. That sounds amazing. You could probably use a little more rice than I have used today. I just didn't want this to be as like rice heavy, but you're gonna want to cover the bottom of the pan just in like a nice, as much of an even layer as you can get it. And then if you have been on TikTok at all, I want rice in my face. You've probably seen this recipe come up. I saw it 2 weeks later after it was on TikTok on Instagram, like an adult that doesn't have TikTok. Okay. Now you're just gonna take a whole little container here of seaweed, and this is just, I don't even know if this is a flavor. Organic roasted seaweed snack. This is the sesame flavor. They make different flavors if you want. And you're just gonna like crumple this up. It breaks up really easily. And then you're gonna spread this around in kind of a thin layer. You don't want to just like layer down the sheets because then it won't, like when you go to chew it, it's gonna stay in a sheet. And this is so like, I almost wish I would have used gloves for this because it's like, it doesn't look like it would be this way, but it's weirdly greasy. And then like also this papery texture of the seaweed kind of like sticks to your hands. Like, look at this. Okay, now I'm gonna wash my hands. And then we're gonna layer on the salmon crab sriracha mixture. If somebody in the chat can tell me what the gesture is to get the fucking camera to zoom out, I would really appreciate it. See, so this kind of same rule as the rice. You're just going to want to spread it around as much of an even layer as you can get it here. And I have kept my oven on the same temperature that it was on when I cooked the salmon. But we know the salmon's done and the imitation crab is already made. So there's kind of, you could eat this like this, but I'm going to bake it just so all of the flavors are like more melded together. All right, back in the oven. Okay, so I'm going to give this like almost 15 minutes. I just set the timer for 12, but we'll let it go a little longer. All right, I need to do a small cleanup here. Please watch me. You dumbass camera that is zoomed in and you will not leave me alone now. Guys, the camera is the ultimate simp. All right. You know what? We're gonna add to my dishes load today, and I'm gonna get another pan just for you guys. This is this is getting a little ridiculous back here. All right, let's put this here. And I still have to make scones. Okay, we're gonna do these in a smaller pan so we can see. All right, because this is, you know, like these are wontons or whatever, I'm going to use some sesame oil. I feel like if I do that, oh, hold on. We may be able to figure this out. No. Let's see. I'm going to try and not smoke out the camera, not that way, but like literally have there be a ton of smoke in this camera in particular, the shot. Do I want to reset my camera real quick? Yeah, let me see if I can. Let's see. It looks like it's thinking. I do have great cast iron cookware. Thank you so much. So the camera looks like it's following me. Can you guys see this? Because the camera is definitely following me, but the feed is not showing that it is. Oh, that's my computer camera. Duh. Let me see. Setting. Hotspot. Yay! We fixed it! Perfect. Oh, thank God. So sorry about that. Okay, we're going to turn up this burner slightly. Look at my choices here. I have like small, medium, big, but then I got this awkward ass size pan, so we're just gonna have to work around it. But this is a non-stick pan, so hopefully, and then my dishes graveyard is going crazy back here. We're gonna put this in the fridge. All right, wontons on deck, guys. What is a hob? H-O-B. What about those other, what is hob roulette? I don't know what hobs are besides like a hobbit. Is that what you mean? What is a hob? No, I seriously have no idea what maybe if you told me the description, I would tell you I know what that is. What's the American word for it? A stove? The hot thing I put my pan, the heated circle. Oh, yeah, just, I mean, it's the electric stove. If there's a proper name for these circles, I don't know. I'm fairly new to the electric cookware, only because I fairly recently moved to a place without fracking. So I got left with this. Oh, we call it a coil. If you mean like the electric coil that's inside, like the heated coil part. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, we're gonna turn this up a little higher just because the size isn't where I want it. And let's try and use these without peeling them apart. Okay. That wasn't as dramatic of like a sizzle as I was looking for. It smells really good though. This is what I mean about like sesame oil. The fact that it's starting to smell really good, but it's not hot enough for it to cause a sizzle. What are these delights I'm making? So I am making a kind of like a baked sushi salmon roll, but as a casserole. And these ground chicken wontons. And then if we have enough time, I'm going to go ahead and add in some of these scones. And I might just like mix that up and then plop it out. And then we end the stream. And then you guys can look for the picture afterwards. You would be surprised. These don't look like much. Like when they go on the pan, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that doesn't look very good. But I promise you, they're amazing. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to leave just enough room to be able to roll these around. Whoop. And then I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit because electric stove. My taste buds are tingling with anticipation. Mine too. I'm hungry. I worked out already today. And I'm going to get another dish to be able to put this in. Get some tongs. No, don't stick. I'll flip this over. So if you see this like rice coating is getting nice and crispy. Now I see why they said to double the wrapper. Guys, I don't know. I don't think this is going to work actually. Hold on. Like this part is definitely worth it here. Yeah, definitely should have doubled these. The fun part is you can eat these just like this. This is like spring roll style. There's like nothing wrong with eating it just like wet. we're going crazy with those kinds of jokes today. You guys need to stop. He is spitting at me. All right, so not terrible. I would make these much smaller, like wrap up the rice portion a lot better so that there's like multiple layers if you're gonna make these bigger, or double wrap it. This is a little bit of a fail. I'm not gonna lie, only because I was impatient. We talked about this last week. This is just like trading. You have to start small. You have to be patient. You can't just dump your whole bag everywhere. Be careful of the hot hob. Yes. This is a new word. This is like when I was skiing and I learned from Canadians that they call a beanie a tuk-tuk or something. Like, come on. I know we have some dumbass names for things, but that was just a tuk-tuk. I don't know, guys. I mean, we're gonna do this just for like the sake of saying we did it, but I feel like I'm gonna be eating these with a fork, and it's fine. They're cooked. You can obviously make these any particular way that you want. You can add shrimp. I saw some recipes where people pulsed shrimp in like a blender or a food processor, and they made a little bit of like a shrimp paste. If you do that, and then you would want to make sure that the shrimp is still raw, and you wouldn't want to cook the filling and then put it in the rice paper and then cook this, because it would kind of make sure it would make the shrimp overdone. So just, keep that in mind. We're going to do half and half here, and then I'm going to take out the sushi bake. And then we're going to mix up the scones. So when I say scones for this next recipe, they are buttermilk scones. And the flavor is actually very unique because of the buttermilk. Buttermilk's kind of sour if you've ever had it in a dish. So these aren't typical like American sweet scones that are like a pastry. Like you bite in and it is like so incredibly sweet, and it is definitely a dessert. These are like a very nice balance of kind of a savory, a sweet. You can add different fruit. I'm going to add peaches. But you can add berries. And if you do that, the only thing I would recommend is that you make sure that they are frozen when you add them. Just because otherwise, like, they'll just kind of be like a little bit of a bleeding mess. Like berries are, obviously they like to burst when you cook them. So if they are frozen, it kind of like delays that a little bit. Okay, we're going to turn this off, and we're going to call this, yeah, I don't know. I'll finish that later. But we are going to pull this out, and I'm going to finish this dish. Let me see. Oh, a lemon scone. Add a lemon to the scone, whole lemon. I'll do it. We're on the stream. I'll do it. That's fine. I have a lemon. Okay, and look at that. She is beautiful. Yes. She smells delicious, and I am hungry. Okay, I'm going to lower the heat of my oven to 350 for the scones, but it's already preheated, so the second it's done, I'm done like prepping it. We can just slam it in there. I am going to top this with the Japanese version of everything bagel seasoning. And we're just going to make sure you could add, I'm not going to do this, but you could add like more sriracha. You could also add a slightly sweeter topping, like a teriyaki or even like a hoisin sauce or something, just to kind of like drizzle that on there in a nice little, plated kind of way. But I'm just going to add the furikake seasoning. And this really just kind of like finishes it off. Obviously, it's very pretty. And after I make up the scones, I'm going to do something I didn't get to do last week because the gumbo took forever. I am going to take a bite on camera. When I would audition for commercials in LA, they would call this a bite and smile. They literally would have you like get to an audition, you would be on camera, and they would have you take a bite of something like a piece of chocolate and smile just to see how you looked. Great judgment. Let's see, delicious. It is not bukkake seasoning. It is not. But I really appreciate the fact that you called it that. All right. So for the last thing today here, I have to check my notes real quick. Oh, hold on. Follow me. All right. So I'm going to mix up the dry ingredients first and then the wet. The camera's being immense. Dude, the camera it's had its own mind today. At one point, it like zoomed in on me ranting, and then it just like never let it go. Okay, we'll see if it doesn't get hung up over here. Nope, still following me. Still good. Still good. Okay, great. All right, so we're gonna start with 2.5 cups. See what? Hello. We're going to start with 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and that's going to be our dry ingredients. Is the camera eyeing the microwave, trying to have an affair? Dude, who knows? I have an aunt that works in insurance adjustments and basically like helping find if people are actually fraudulently making an insurance claim. And she says that like way more of your devices than you realize have a camera in them. And at one point they were trying to assess like where the damage for a fire started and how it happened. And so they issued some kind of like a subpoena, or basically they ended up asking all of the different companies for all of the appliances they had in the home. Like, is there a camera in it so that we can see what happened? And the fucking coffee maker, probably the Breville, had a camera in it. It's another reason not to get not to do the final boss of the coffee. Okay, we're going to do 1/2 cup more. But yeah, so just, people are like, oh, I don't want an Alexa, because that one's real obvious, right? It's listening to you. But you need to be more freaked out by like the little guys. So like I would unplug this thing. I unplug this thing the second I'm done with it. It's Skynet. Yes, it is. 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. So I actually got this recipe from a Instagram account, and the handle is She Likes Milk. And she uses a lot of like actual dairy products, buttermilk, that kind of thing. Let's see, 2 tablespoons of sugar. I depot everything. So I have everything in these jars. All right, 1, 2. And 1 tablespoon of baking powder. See, unfortunately, I have to actually follow a recipe here. Depotting is a little Meghan Markle-esque, a little bit. Although, like, I'm not pretending that I've made something up. I'll fucking tell you guys, I just straight up stole it. She is not copied to that. Somehow, this is the funniest story. Somehow I liked, this is how out of control your algorithm is. I ended up hitting the like button on like a couple Meghan Markle posts where people were kind of like trashing her when her show came out, because obviously she was attempting to be Martha Stewart, and that kind of offended me. How many tablespoons is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should be 8. Yes. Okay. So you're going to take 12 tablespoons of butter. Please don't kill me and don't tell your doctor. So basically a stick and a half of butter. And then we are going to grate the butter into this mixture after I stir this up a little bit. But somehow I managed to hit the like button on a couple, Meghan Markle posts. We all knew that she was kind of faking her shit for her show. She didn't even use her own kitchen. The show wasn't at her house. She used somebody else's kitchen up the street in Santa Barbara where she lives. And everybody just called it for what it was, which was kind of inauthentic. I hit the like button on a couple of these, move on with my day. The next 2 months of my algorithm is random, Meghan Markle. Hold on, let me grab the camera. The next 2 months of me scrolling through Twitter randomly comes up with the most absurd Meghan Markle hate. Clearly it's British people who cannot stand this woman. And it is hysterical that they care this much. People who are all about the monarchy, and people who they're passionately defending William and Kate. And I'm I don't even care about a president this much. And I might have voted for whoever it was. It's pretty wild the way that I think she's a narcissistic, abusive joke. Yeah, then that's the other thing I was noticing in all of the commentary about her, was that they think that she's totally run over the top of Harry. She's completely ruined his relationship with his family, which I would kind of agree. Yeah, that was not good, the way that all went down. But it's not your life. It's not your life. Who cares? You're not gonna hang out with her and Oprah in Montecito. Harry chose. Is it sad? Sure. Is what it is, though. All right. And that is a lesson in minding your own business, you guys. But somehow I was on Oprah with her, though. Oh, okay. Were you part of the staff? Again, we're going to grate this butter before it... I sat in the car with her every day. Yeah, I think the British fandom for the royal family is so interesting, just because we don't have anything like that in America, right? The closest thing to royalty here, I don't even know what that would be at this point. I would say it's the Kennedys, but they turned on their own with RFK as well. So, Pinky is Oprah. Yes. Yes. All right, and this is melting in my hands. All right, okay. So we're gonna add this, all of the butter. And you basically just want to grate this so that it helps clump up a little more evenly. Guys, we're going to do a whole other stream where I just do dishes. And then I'm going to use my hands just to make sure that this gets all in there. So you're going to want this to be like kind of pea-sized, like crumbly dough. None of the words that they use to really describe a lot of cooking stuff is like attractive, you know, crumbly dough. I don't know. The finished product is gorgeous, but like the process, guys, the process. All right, and while I mix this up, then there is 3 wet ingredients: buttermilk, vanilla, and an egg. You mix that up, then you dump this in here. Then you fold in white chocolate chips and your preferred fruit. I am going to be using peaches. The first time I made this, I used fresh peaches. Yes, and I am going to use lemon. I'll squeeze a whole lemon, sure. Lemon and peaches. The first time I made this, though, I just used fresh peaches because I had some laying around. It turned out incredible. It was amazing. No notes, wouldn't change anything. The peaches I'm using today, though, are not fresh because they're already out of season. And the vanilla, let's see. Oh, the acid in the lemon doesn't curdle the dairy. Solid point. We may need to wait until we have this like fully mixed. There we go. Okay, 1 egg. And then 1 full cup of buttermilk. Let's see, do I have, yeah. Let's see, this is, do I need to shake this? No. Cooking bare feet is living life on the edge. Well, barefoot in the kitchen. Isn't that how most men want their wives? You'll have to answer that question for me. And then a tablespoon bare in the kitchen. Okay. We're just going to eyeball this. You can't fuck up vanilla, okay? And we're going to throw the wonton wrappers behind us. And then go ahead and just mix this up all together until you get a slightly consistent color tone. It's going to be like a little yellowy. I'll mix this over here so you can see. Compared to the sriracha salmon. Right. So the peaches that I'm using, because they were frozen, and they probably weren't totally ripe when they picked them and processed them, they weren't very sweet when I tasted them. So I did sprinkle some sugar on them and let them sit for a little bit. So I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to try and not burn this bowl. Like I'm so serious when I tell you though that this recipe just doesn't look like much when you dump it out onto the pan. Make sure you get all the way to the bottom. And if it's a little dry, you can add a little more buttermilk. We're going to add a lemon just because the chat asked. Okay, so I'm going to add the fruit first, though. Just because there are some juices in the fruit. Juicy fruit. Fold that in and see if that helps. I know this isn't like a, you know, if we're sticking with the theme of like kind of Asian things, like Japanese, whatever that is, this probably isn't like a dessert that would fit that, you know, area of the world, but it's all right. It's still going to be delicious. Okay, so that actually helped with the consistency of it. I am going to get a lemon just for the chat, though. Let's see. Will the camera follow me? Yes, it will. All right. I don't know what I use. Okay, do we want a whole lemon? Let's see. There's a spider. Yeah, it's a where is it? It's a palmetto, or like a little like pine beetle bug or whatever. They fly in here. The Terminex guy is coming today. All right. Unfortunately, though, you know, it's a man-eating wolf spider. I hope not. Jesus. Okay. A whole lemon, then wrapped batter around it so it's like a Scotch egg. Yeah, okay, that's not happening. But we're going to squeeze half a lemon into this just for kicks. And just because the chat asked. And the last ingredient is going to be white baking chips. Let me turn this. So white baking chips here, you're going to use a whole cup. This was probably my husband's favorite part, I'm not going to lie. It probably wasn't the peaches or the scones or the buttermilk or anything. It was just white chocolate chips. And you're going to use an entire cup. Oh, we'll just use this. It has the buttermilk in it. I got these from Target. These are just the Target brand. And fold this in. You don't want to overmix this. This isn't something that you would want to put like in a KitchenAid stand mixer and just like turn it on and let it go. You just kind of want to incorporate everything and then let it sit. Oh, and the last thing I want to add is either cinnamon, or I'm just going to use some pumpkin spice because I'm that girl. But it's not going to overpower the dish at all. But you could just use regular cinnamon or nutmeg if you like that flavor. Yes, just let the ingredients socialize with each other. No awkward, yeah, nothing too intense. Just, you know, a mixer, if you will. Okay. This looks perfect. Okay, now I'm going to take another cookie sheet. And swap this here. Running out of room, guys. And you're just gonna like blob this out. Spray this down. I don't really think you'll have to because of all of the butter. My God. If she sticks, like with all of this butter, I don't really know what to tell you. But yeah, I mean, I'm very serious when I say this. You'll see on the reveal in a second. It'll be like, that was delicious. What? I mean, she's a mess. Like, look at her. She looks like some kind of a creature in a, 1950s movie. If there is a way to make these into like individual ones, like you can, I'm sure, but the recipe said to just go ahead and blob this out like this. So just kind of flatten it out. Not like too flat. This is probably about 1.5 to 2 inches thick. And then we're going to toss this in the oven. All right. So I'm going to set this for 25 minutes. If I remember, though, I think it went a little longer than that. In the meantime, I'm going to have something to eat so we can taste this together. We're going to get a small plate. And let me see. I'm going to get a spatula. Are you guys corner piece people or are you, oh, what temp is it? It is at 350 for the scones. And everything else we cooked for the fish was at about 375 or 380. All right, so I'm gonna take this corner piece. So this is what I'm talking about. This like layered, let me see if you can see. Layered like a sushi roll. You have like the rice on the bottom. You have this like crab, seaweed kind of mixture up on the top. This is essentially a sushi roll. It's just built like a casserole and you can eat it with a fork with zero judgment. This would actually be obnoxious to eat with chopsticks. So I'm going to eat this with a fork. And cheers, guys. Let me see. This is like a huge bite. Please don't judge me. This is so good. So you can do a couple things to either dress this up or down. I like to add sometimes some sliced cucumber and some avocado. So like really kind of upping the ante of like the sushi roll type thing. This is perfect by itself, but again, you can add little other things like at your discretion. I am starving. I'm going to take another bite. That bite was huge. And I'm going to take a bite of this just, to say we did. It's honestly not bad. It's not great either. But it's edible. Like, I'm starving, so it's edible. The filling is actually really delicious. So I would do that all day, all over again. The only thing I would change is I would make them smaller, or I would like double wrap the rice paper just so you could add to that like really crispy texture when you go to cook them. So other than that, I'm going to let the scones bake. And then I will post a picture later of the perfect, picture perfect scone. Just as an additive, I will probably add like a nice dollop of Ready whipped cream. When I'm done, you could also add like a a cinnamon sugar or like a sugar glaze on top, or a crumble, like a Dutch apple pie. But I think enough carbs for the day, right? Between the rice and all of this. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining Let Her Cook on Pump Fun, brought to you by BSCN. I am Jackie Dutton. Make sure you tune in next week at 12 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to keep doing this. So yeah, we hope you guys had a lot of fun. I always have a lot of fun. I'm in the kitchen constantly anyway, so I thought I would just invite you guys in. But if you make this, please take a picture. Please let me know how it turned out. And I would love to see your cooking channels, and let me know what you want to see me make next week. Bye, guys.